Afl Dt Plus here. I'm Brucey. This is
Brucey.
Yeah, we have an action-packed night. Not one-on-one, exclusive interview with Dayne Zorko.
The man himself. Dayne Zorko.
Dayne Zorko, absolute legend. He's such a great guy. Met him last night.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Got a one-on-one interview with him, all coming up later in the show. But first of all, we'll start with the round recap.
Yep, just look at all the games from the weekend, not necessarily from a Dream Team perspective, but and it was a one-sided round, it would have to be said, on the weekend. So starting on Friday night with Carlton and the Hawks, thought it was going to be a blockbuster, thought it would be a tight one, but in the end it was a comfortable victory to the Hawks by about 50 points, with the injury to Buddy Franklin, the only dampener. And the Blues, well, they just continue to slump in form, and question marks over Brett Ratton and who's going to be their 2013 coach still remain. So big news
there.
A
lot of questions of who, what and when.
Yeah, Mick Moldhouse is being thrown up, everyone. But moving on to Collingwood and Freo on Saturday afternoon, it was a fairly comfortable victory for the Pies.
Yeah, despite a late fight back from Freo, there was no real challenge to the Pies' victory there.
With an outstanding performance from the Piggy, Swanee again. And,
captain's pick.
Yeah, 172, should have listened to me. Get to captains later. Moving on to Adelaide and Richmond, which was the corresponding fixture with that. And Adelaide, they formed a comeback after being down by 5 goals at quarter time and ended up winning by about 19, 20 points, I think it was. So it was a good game, one of the matches of the round, I'd say. Well, then at 4:40 we had the Gold Coast and West Coast at Patterson's. I think that was always going to be one-sided. It was 126-point drubbing.
Yeah.
It's just
as it turned out to be,
yeah, just a case of where to next for the Suns, because they just don't look like improving. While the Eagles, they continue to shoot towards the flag, because they're going to be, when September comes around, they'll be
tough
red hot
to beat.
Yeah. Moving on to the Bulldogs and Essendon on Saturday night, was another disappointing performance coming off the back of the Lions match for the Dogs.
Dogs, just their forms are rocky
Well,
ride for them.
The Bombers, a bit like West Coast, just secured another win, and they look set to play a pivotal role in September. GWS at Sydney, the other Saturday night match. As expected, Sydney came away without much 94-point victors. But the GWS, you'd have to say that they, especially the rookies, they continue to show promise and glimpses of the future. Moving on to Sunday Arvo, Geelong and Port, they were just bad conditions, just soaking wet. And it was a reasonable performance from the Cats.
Yeah.
I think it was 38 points in the end, but the Power, they have surprised me at times this year. They continue to display signs of improvement. So good things to look forward to for the Power.
Brisbane and Melbourne, the match me and Bruce going to do. Good win for the Brisbane Lions again.
If they could have just kicked straight, their inaccurate goal kicking was the only reason it wasn't a total blowout, but solid performance from most players.
Melbourne, the Lions had this problem though in the team. They weren't a full-quarter team, and that's going to be Melbourne's problem all year. They're definitely not a full-quarter team. They struggled in the scheme of things at the very end of the match. First bit, they managed to keep in touch with the Lions, coming back from, I think it was 26 points down, and then the score just blew out from there. It was more Lion one side, from there on.
Future of Melbourne looks pretty glum, I'd have to be said. And St Kilda and North, for me, I didn't get to see all of this match as we were meeting up with Dayne Zorko, as you mentioned. But from what I've heard and the little bit that I saw, probably the match of the round.
Yeah.
I think no, it was 5 goals in it, but 2 sides battling for top 8 spots.
Yeah, our first week back at all rounds of 49 matches didn't go quite according to plan for some teams, and went very according to plan to the others. But
North Melbourne, they led for most of the match, and Saints just weren't able to run them down in the end.
So now we move on to general.
A bit of general info with more Dream Team related, and I think the theme of this week was probably the return of the fallen primos, whether it be form slump or injury, and it all started on Friday night with Carrots, Robbo, Scotland, Sammy Mitchell,
high scoring week this week.
Birch, and also what's his name? Lewis. Lewis from the Hawks. I've just had a mental, what is he? We'll come back to that later. I've just had an absolute mental blank. So it starts with J or something like that. Anyway, they all topped the ton, and of course, coming back from suspension, injury, or just being down on form, a few of them. Then it continued on Saturday Arvo. with Barlow, Pav and Michael Johnson, as well as Dusty Martin, all scoring in excess of 109. While on Sunday, Selwood, Colin Sylvia, that's Joel Selwood, and Lenny Hayes all had good matches and came back from a form slump of recent weeks. So that's just about the weekend done. But have a look at who's like a lock in 2013.
Yep.
I know it's early stages, but it have to be said in the defence category that Lids and Carrots, if they remain as defenders, if the DPP is still there, they would have to be highly considered, almost locked.
It'd be hard to turn down
if
Carrots.
Basically, like, and in the midfield, Swan and Ablett, that's pretty simple.
Oh, well, past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, being the best two in the league.
Haven't really seen anyone fight them off, really.
Yeah, and then moving on to the rucks, if Coxie, if he's still around and just doing well, he's just so strong overhead and you can rely
Talks to Nat Nui. No, I wouldn't go with Nat Nui. He's not.
Yeah, he's an excitement machine, but not necessarily the DT sort of guy. So also Ivan Maric, he's unstoppable.
Ivan Maric, we'll talk about him more later in the section.
But it's just hard to believe that he's barely. You don't think of him scoring under 100, but just quite. And in the forwards, Beamer and Sidey, two Collingwood buds in the forward line. If they also remain as forwards, they'll be probably the first two people I pick next year. They've been amazing, retaining an average of about 112. While Buddy, if he can stay injury free, he'll certainly be one to consider as well.
Yeah.
But that just about wraps up the general info, and we'll have a look at injury and suspension news. Always important.
Okay, well, the injuries and suspensions, not many suspensions as usual, but we'll talk about some of the DT relevant injuries. These aren't all the injuries, as we always say, and we do not have weeks on them yet because most of them will require scans, and they will not be done until obviously later this week.
Yeah.
The first one, probably the biggest name in the injury this week, is Buddy Franklin.
Of course, minor strain, I think, of the hamstring, but hopefully all goes well.
Fingers crossed, but should line up next week. Pendlebury returns. That's not an injury, we're just saying he returned this week.
From cracked tibia, so I'll certainly be looking forward to that. I've had him resting on the bench for about 4 weeks, I think it is now. So.
Yeah. We move on to Dylan Shield. He has a minor injury. He should line up next week.
I think he'll be right, just a minor knock, so he should be back.
Luke Powell, we wish a speedy recovery to you, mate. A broken ribs and didn't look too good out there, did he, Luke? That's his first full game back in a while, so we wish him luck to getting back on the stage. Tom McDonald, this is probably one of the more upsetting things of the round.
Straight away.
Punctured lung straight away in the first minutes of the line.
Yeah, of course, not DT relevant, but best wishes to him and his family. So.
Hope you get better, Tom McDonald. Brendan Goddard, a minor, should play next week. Well, definitely should play next week.
Yeah, he did finish out the match, so unless there was something behind the scenes that we didn't know about, it looks set to play next week.
Brent Gura, a suspension.
He should get, I think, maybe 2 weeks.
And that will free up something.
Yeah, and also Birchall to run off the half-back line, because he has been a bit more productive lately and possibly taking points off them.
It's not going to help the coach. We now move on to the unexpecteds.
Yep, so we should have learned to expect the unexpected in Dream Team, but there's sometimes, even in this game, that we're all surprised, and there was multiple times on the weekend where we just thought, this can't be right. So we'll start off with Ryan Harwood, priced at just $273,000. He scored 127 points, and amazingly, only owned by 0.27% of coaches. So you might want to get on him. Second one is
I wouldn't recommend him, but
just obviously a few more games under his belt. But Shane Tuck for the Tigers, he had 135. He's priced a bit dearer at $493,000, but he's still only owned by 1.28% of coaches. So still a good unique if you're looking for a spot to round out your last upgrade in your midfield, which we will talk more in depth about later. The Sydney Swans midfielder, Jared McVeigh, he had 149 against GWS. Obviously, you can't expect those sort of results every week, but he's only priced at $394,000 and owned by 0.5% of teams. But
0.5%.
Yeah, so just 0.49%. Luke Shuey had 148 on the Gold Coast, and he's priced at $457,000. and once again owned by just 4% of teams around the nation. And rounding out this segment is Andrew Swallow, who had 144 in the Twilight match yesterday. He's priced at just 440,000 and is owned by, once again, 4% of teams. So we're certainly not recommending to buy these players, as some of you may think, but maybe just give them a couple more weeks, have a look at them. But we just like to keep you up to date with what's happening, and maybe it's not always just the Swans and the Ablets and the Pendlebury's pumping out big scores.
Well, now we move on to the studs and duds, and then we'll have a look at the prospectus with me and Mitch.
Yeah.
The studs and duds. Well, we'll start with the studs. I believe they are the better category. The studs for this week. Stan Gibson finished on 110. Great work.
And just priced, I think, at 150 or 140. So.
Yeah, and then we go on to Courtney Dempsey, 129, rounded off a good round.
Yeah, for the Bombers on Saturday night, good match.
Matthew Boyd, 132, great returns back to form after that slump last week.
He was basically the only shining light in the Bulldogs' performance. I think he had around 35 odd disposals. So
absolutely covered up. Pierce Hanley from the Lions. It was of the Lions are usually always in that top area with at least one player. Jack Redden had an offish night, but
still had 110, I think. So.
Yeah. Hanley should be happy with his performance finishing on 110.
We'll discuss him later, but he's looking set. He's just found his feet real this year.
In plays of the week, I'm sure if we show you that video later, he'll be in one of those very good runs. Being at the game was just...
Yeah, he was electrifying.
And
I was actually surprised that only 120.
Now we move on to Dayne Zorko.
Yeah, he obviously, you would have known that he was in there. Just tried to keep him till last.
172. I
recommended him as captain. A lot of you didn't listen to me or didn't watch it. And you paid the price, so maybe just don't take it with a grain of salt, but maybe just check it out next time. Might have some decent advice. But moving on to the duds.
Oh, the duds. Travis Cloke. What's happened?
Well,
what do you think? Finishing on 42.
Obviously, contract talks just went out on the footy show, told him that the doctors had given him $1 million and kicked a goal.
It is a lot of pressure on players to know that you've played at a premiership winning club. You've been there for what? He's been there for a fair while now, and he's fought it out well. But there's so much pressure getting $1 million on the table from Freo, and then playing against that club, Freo.
And it might have just been a bit of advice from Nathan Buckley giving him the red vest at 3/4 time. Maybe just don't go blabbering on about your contracts on public TV. So.
Yeah, he sure had an offish game. Anything you would love to add to that?
I picked him up. I picked him up after he got the 200s. I think he's played about 3 games since and all scored in the 70s, maybe an 80 last week, and missed 2 games with the calf strain. So I'm not happy at the moment. Hopefully he can repay the faith on Friday night.
Christian Harwood.
He was really talked up about during the week by a few people, but obviously didn't deliver. Just had the 35, I think. So
I wouldn't be jumping on any of these. Ryan Hargrave, the next one, had a bit of a duddish match.
Yeah, I think it's more just the 2 or 3 late withdrawals now and the consistent 50 or 60. So I think that's the main reason why he's featured in the duds rather than his score.
Sam Shaw, 32. That is a definite dud.
Yeah, I know that this guy's only a rookie, but he just burst onto the scene, had back-to-back 70s, I think, and has since pumped out a 21 last week and 32 this week. So not real good.
Yeah, well, that's all we got for that category. Well, we move on to our new category this week. It's called the prospectus. The book came out at the beginning of the year, the prospectus, and so we're going to talk a little bit in depth about what the players were. 5 players, what they were at the beginning of the year, and what they are now.
Yeah, and this will obviously become a regular segment, and we might even take viewers' polls to see which 5 we want to do, but we'll get through a fair few. So we'll start today with Bo Waters.
Bo Waters, yep.
So as a quote from the Fantasy Freako and the prospectus.
Yeah, thanks to Fantasy Freako for
thanks for all this. He says scores will go up, but it's too expensive to consider as a bargain pick. Fast forward to round 14. I'll just finish off this one. He's had an average of 97, played every game bar 1, hasn't scored under 79, which is very consistent, especially for a defender. Has a high score of 126. Is now owned by 29% of the teams, and has made $111,000. So that's a good investment, but obviously a keeper. So I'll leave you to do the next one.
Brent Stanton. Oh, you get Zorko. Damn it. Brent Stanton, get off his back, Essendon supporters. He is a very good player. Afl Dt is his game. How true is that fantasy free go?
Yeah, it is his game. Up the +6s.
Averaging 122, 13 games, so he's played all the games this year. His range is 77 to 193.
Massive score.
Stunning. Yeah, owned by 17% of coaches and
lost 31,000, which is really harsh considering he's averaged about 20 more. I think he peaked 600k at one stage.
He was my captain this, but we'll get more to that in the team updates now. The Zorko. I'll give you Mitch to that.
Yeah, so it was pretty brief because we didn't really know much about him, but Rico did say definitely someone to jump on if he is named in round 1, which of course he wasn't. I think he did have. I think it might have been a hip injury, or maybe that was Doherty, but was injured. Otherwise, definitely would have started round 1.
And his calves it up ever since joining.
He's got an average of 92, and that's sub-affected, so it would be up around the 100 mark if taking out that 26, which he had against Collingwood, came on in about three-quarter time.
Yeah.
Played 7 games, hasn't missed one since his debut. His range from non-vested games is 69, which was on the weekend, to 140, so that's amazing for a rookie. Now owned by 38%. I'm not sure what the other 62% are doing.
That's me. I wanted to jump on Zorko, but I missed the boat, unfortunately.
Missed the boat by a long way. And he's gone up by almost 300k this year, so he's...
That's bigger than some of the adults and all that they do in their first years.
Yeah, so he looks set just to keep pumping them out, and of course had a great chat to him last night, and we will see that interview later on. In the show,
Dayne Beans, he flies under the radar. This is a fantasy freako. Flies under the radar in a star-studded midfield. Good, unique option. Well, call it what you will. Dayne Beans has been playing excellent of late. 112.
I actually traded him in probably about 5 weeks ago. Hasn't let it down since. Just almost as reliable as a midfielder. So.
Yep. 112 average, 12 games, 74 to 155. That's a nice average. Just a bit better than Zorko, but still looking.
Yeah, well, he's obviously almost 5 times the starting price of Zorko.
Yeah, and played more games than Zorko, so you would expect a lot more from him. So you would be very happy with Dayne Beans here. Owned by 15% of coaches. The other coaches are a bit.
Yeah.
And he's gone up $41,000.
Which is, considering the high starting prices generally this year, that's a good effort. Now on to Ivan Maric.
Yes, Mitchell always wanted this boy.
From the prospectus, this is what it stated. I have to give it up to Frico. I didn't even consider this kid, but he's now 26, and the Tigers give their traded players early opportunities. Seriously consider. Maybe I should have looked that up because I probably have a leg up on most of the competition. He's average 103. Hasn't really looked back since about 10 rounds ago. Played every match. Has a high score of 124, never dropped below 66. Is now owned by 13% of teams, and I think that's probably, what do you reckon?
Couldn't get much better.
It would be less than 1% at the start, I'd say.
Yeah.
And gone up 225,000.
Well, when you think about it, who would have thought about him?
Yep. So that concludes our prospectus for this week. Remember to keep the comments coming in about who you want to see done. But moving on to another new segment here. Last upgrade. So it's just who the people you want to looking for those last upgrades, maybe a bit unique, or just about to hit the bubble and just give you a leg up on your opponent. So
a lot of new categories today. We've been working very hard on this show.
Yep.
For this one, and we hope you've enjoyed most of what's come so far.
And there's a lot more to come. So start off with Pierce Hanley, the line, obviously in stellar form, has an average of 86, which is reasonable. Priced at just 377,000.
Someone to jump on position wise.
Yeah, definitely. And has a break even of -5, so you want to definitely get on him this week because I think he's averaged about 127 over the last 2 weeks. So.
Where does Pierce Hanley play again?
Just in defence.
Exactly.
And he's basically playing on the wing. I think he might kick 3 goals, 1 on the weekend. Just pushes up.
Yeah, I just want to give you a bit of trivia there.
Yeah. And also Carazzo and Scotland, 2 defenders from Carlton. They're averaging 87 and 98 respectively. But Carrots, if you take out the 1 game, which he hurt his shoulder and finished on the score with 1, I think his average is around 104.
Well, it's a bit harsh out the Dream Team. They do judge players on injuries.
So I'd definitely get on Karat. So
Yep.
we both got him on him last week.
Last week, yeah, traded him, and I'm happy with that trade.
I think 110 it was, and he's got a break even of 16, so definitely look to get on him. While Scotland has a break even of 77, so just priced at 430, might want to jump on board as well. While Goddard, interestingly, seeing him down dirt cheap, has an average of 91 still, but priced at just 391,000. So definitely one to look at in a couple of weeks if you don't already have him. So that concludes defenders. Moving on to the midfield, there's just almost a top 4 in the competition. I'm not sure why they're priced so low at the moment, but the Essendon boys, Watson and Stanton, have an average of 116 and 122.
116, Watson, like, I've never personally had him in my team, have you?
No, not. I do have Stanton as a
yeah, I've got Stanton as my captain, yes.
And so they're priced at just both under 525,000, and still have break evens of 100 plus for both of them. So I'd say they both will probably reach it, I think, this week. And yeah, so look to get on them. While Scotty Thompson averages 112, priced at just 500,000 with a BE of 95. Definitely look to get on him this week. And Boyd, I'd probably the best looking out of these ones. Averages 117, priced at 514,000, coming off pretty good form apart from that 70 against the Lions, and still has a break even of 137. So if you want to give him a week or two, he will certainly be looking very good. But and finally onto the forwards, we have 4 contenders again. We have, all averaging upwards of 86. So we got Mitch Robinson. He's priced at 416,000 with a BE of 75. So just got to look to get on him. While Stevie J and Paddy Dangerfield, they both have high 90 averages, both priced under 450,000, and both have high break evens, especially Stevie J, who has 135, so definitely look to get on him. And rounding out this segment is Dusty Martin, who, although he only averages 86, is priced at 382,000. That's just too low for a player of his quality, and had 109 on the weekend with a break even of 57. So hopefully that's gave you a few good options, and
that rounds off that segment.
So another new segment coming up.
It ain't easy being green. That's the green vest. Yes, it is. We're gonna try to speed it up a little because I've gone long for time. But it ain't easy being green. That's the new segment. No. According to Murray Newman, it is very easy being green. In a quarter and a half, he notched up 65 DG points.
And on debut as well. So obviously a cult hero already.
Looking for the future, that one is Kevin Murray, Murray Newman. I've been at the Lions. I was at the Lions trivia a bit too long, I think, last night. Brodie Martin played a quarter and a half and finished on 46. Craig Bird had another good day for him, 1 quarter and finished on 38. That's notching up what? Ablett and them gave him 1 quarter.
Yeah, so even though it was against GWS, still very good performance.
Jared Polt, the Lion, was on the bench. We're just giving him a mention. He didn't do excellent, but finished on 37 after a quarter and a half, which is pretty good. And Sam Blease, Blease got 57, played a full game, and yeah.
Scored pretty well. He looked a bit of class out there, added a bit to the Demons outfit.
And another new segment, rookies
on the radar. So that's your segment again. So just looking at rookies you've got to get, rookies you've got to get rid of.
Rookies on the radar. Here we are. Dylan Shield. Me and Mitch came up with these verdicts. Me and Mitch both agreed that we would trade. If you've got Dylan Shield to trade, he's priced at 351,000. Average is 73.42.
But definitely look to trade him to the last upgrade in the midfield, which we talked about before.
Played 12 games, so yeah, definitely look to upgrade. James Magna.
Pretty similar situation. He's had to
gone at the beginning of the year, and then he's got taken out the tagging role.
I doubt that anyone would still have. Most people would have got rid of him, I'd say. But
Getting rid of him. Finished on 275,000. Price 2,000. Got a tongue tied. Average 70.77.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Dayne Zorko.
Zorko.
Just keep him. That's basically
as
easy as it gets.
That's that keep.
Averages 92. Moving on to the next one, Sammy Gibson.
Saw him in the
studs before.
But keep but don't get.
Yeah.
So all these people who don't have him, don't get him.
Sort of missed the boat a bit, I think. There.
Yeah, James Elliott, keep, but don't get. Same situation there.
Yeah, he
Price.
looks real good overhead, doesn't he?
Price, well, yeah, James Elliott, 244, 600, but yeah, you wouldn't want to get him there. Jonathan Giles, keep, don't get. Another same situation.
Yeah, if you got him as ruck 2, I think a few you were a bit worried and might have traded him out to Marriage, which is all means good, but I've kept him and I'm pretty happy with his 88 on the weekend. So.
Brendan Ellis, keep him.
Yeah, he provides good cover as a
Yep.
D8 or D9. So.
Tom Campbell, keep and get.
Yeah, he's still on the bubble this week, so averages around 60. So definitely look to get him on.
Yeah, well, that's all we've got time for with the rookies on the radar. Now we move on to our next section, rooks.
The captains, for me, not the rooks.
Yes, that was me.
Don't get the same thing. These captains are definitely not rooks, and his captain advice is definitely not rookie either. Oi, boom tish. Anyway, lot to look for in rookies. Probably his captains. Now I've got the disease. But coming in at number 5 for me this week was Paul Chapman against Gold Coast, I think it is, down at Metricon. My verdict for him is he will get 127.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my prediction. Coming in at number 4 is also for Geelong. Joel Selwood had 135 in his only game at Metricon, and yeah, just looks the goods. Should have around 130, I'd say.
I reckon he'll do very well this week.
Swanee, he's coming in at number 3, quite low maybe.
Yeah, low for Swanee.
Yeah, he's on fire at the moment. I'm going to give him 130 as well. He should be around that mark. Against Carlton, he's never ripped them apart. He's just averaging 109 from his last 3 against them.
Well, yes, Carlton, they do have a pretty good team, so
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Especially if Carazzo goes to Swan, but he did get Pendlebury in the first.
That won't help me. Carazzo tagging, but should be an interesting one.
Yeah. Coming in at number 2 is Steve Johnson, also
Stevie J.
Against Gold Coast. Sorry, he's averages 146 from his only game at Metricon and averages 154 from his 2 games against Gold Coast and his 1 game against GWS. So I'm tipping around about 135 or so. And coming in at number 1 is Matty Boyd. He should continue his good form. He loves the Patterson's playground. I'm tipping him in for about 140, 145.
First time Afl's probably been out of the
Yeah, I did look at him, but against his old club, I just think that they'll just run over the top. He might stand up. He did have 186 on Collingwood, but he's not in my top 5 this week. But back onto Boydie. He in his last 3 at Patterson's, he's averaged 127. And last 3 against Freo, he's averaged 145 actually. So yeah, I'm tipping around 140, 145 again.
Well,
but that just about rounds out captains.
We move on to
team update.
Team updates, and then we'll do our tips, and that will be it for today's show.
Yep. So how's your team looking?
They've been very disappointed with my team. I got a bit caught out on trades and stuff like that. Only finished on 1931, so you wouldn't be happy with that, would you?
No.
I'm going to go stop this alarm. You can just go into your team.
Yeah, sure. Okay, my team scored 2,354, which normally sounds massive, but actually probably around par. I think par was just above 2,300. So my rank's gone up to in the top 6,000. Well, my weekly rank was in the top 4,000. Trades for this week, I won't have any trades, don't have many left. Got my studs and duds for my team. Studs, there's a fair few, but just to mention Swanee, Boyd, Cox, Carrots, Robbo, Beams, Lids, Reddo, Stance, Buddy and Dusty all came up and lifted, while the duds were Brandy Whitecross, Heater Shaw and Marley Williams, who I had interest in covering for Pendles, but also instead of Sam Gibson.
Yeah, going back to my team, my team has lived up to my expectations, as I said earlier. After coming 19th overall in round 6, scoring a score of 2-4-2-8, yeah, it hasn't lived up to my expectations. I think I kind of did fall off the bike a little with a couple of players, so Yeah, trades-wise, I've done some trades this week. Zach Clark went out for Dean Cox, and Jack Hombish, or whatever the name is, I can't really say it, goes out for Bow Waters, the double upgrade for me this week. I need better scores, so...
Okay, moving on to our tips for next week. Collingwood and Carlton at the G, that's what things are made of, but I'm going to have to say Collingwood.
Collingwood by 3 goals.
Yeah, I'd say maybe even a bit more, 5 goals, probably. North Melbourne and West Coast at Blundstone.
It's going to be a thriller.
It should be a good match, actually. I'm personally going to have to take West Coast. I just think that they're both in great form.
West Coast have got the more fire for me over the past couple of weeks.
Maybe if they'd want to have that game at Etihad, I'd say. They'd want, because they're a real good chance of winning.
Yeah, West Coast for me.
Melbourne and Richmond.
Richmond by a mile.
Yeah, Richmond easily. Sydney and Brisbane at the SCG.
I'm going to go Sydney. It's away from home, and it's a bit of a big ask of Brisbane. Yeah, they've been in great form the past couple of weeks, but Sydney away from home, it's too much to ask.
Yeah, definitely Sydney. St Kilda and Essendon, as Essendon will be sporting their new Clash jersey, the grey one. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, nice jersey. Nice jersey, yeah.
So, who do you think will win? Saints or Essendon?
I'm going to have to say Essendon.
Yep. I've got to go Essendon as well. Showdown, also at 7:40 at Amy, obviously. Port and Adelaide. Yep. I've got Adelaide written all over them.
Yeah, I'd say it easily for me. Yeah, me and Mitch did get 9 from 9 last week.
Yeah, just letting you know.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe you should follow us for that as well, not only captains. Hawks and GWS at the G. Hawks by a mile.
Well, I'd love to say GWS, but unfortunately they just haven't got to that state of the year yet, and probably won't be there till next year.
Yeah, similar stage with Gold Coast and Geelong, and Metricon Geelong just
rip it up. I'm expecting 100 to 200 points. They will obliterate Gold Coast. Sorry, it won't be a pretty sight. And
Freo and the Western Bulldogs.
The Dogs' form has been terrible of late, so I'm going to go Freo.
Freo should get a win. Okay, that's all we have time for. We'll post the great interview with Dayne Zorko in the comments for the video, and we'll check it out on DT Talk.
Yep.
Hope you've had fun, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Okay, well, that's all we got time for. Thank you, and bye for now.